What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's Sunday. We're talking some football, DFS, season long, everything under the sun. I'm your host, AC, with DFS Karma and Bet Karma. I got Sam Sherman, the projections portal wizard, with me. We'll talk about that a little bit because we did some fancy upgrades on that. But we'll talk about everything like we do the last 5 years doing this Sunday stream. We'll talk about your questions. We'll talk opening the slate game theory-wise, kind of what we're thinking. And then we'll kind of go position by position and intertwine and start rapid-fire questions towards the latter half of the pod. So, Sam, how are you doing this morning? I know you're hungover. Talk to me about life. What'd you do this weekend? And what are we looking at early this slate?
Yeah, dude, this is a complete shit show. So I think we talked about it off pod. This is going to be, I think, an interesting week. I think there's obvious people to play in cash, at least what we seem as obvious. I think there's a lot of routes to go. I don't think there's any like must play QB, must play wide receiver for the most part. I will say for the season long people, and we were just talking about this. So this is just in from Schefter. Patriots Chiefs is playing on Monday at 7. That's sick on CBS. So I think that should count, I believe, in every league for season long. So you can now play all of them. I'm trying to look at other news. Anyone? I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want to play a chalky Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I can't decide if that's the move or not.
Well, we talked before. Welcome, everybody. I know people slowly are joining. It's a relaxed Sunday, obviously, as always. We're going to have fun today a little bit. But let's start with Fitzpatrick. Of course, just crazy news last night. Like, I'm getting home from my brother's engagement party. Again, had some apple cider spiked. It was great. And then we see all the Saints news. I'm like trying to fall asleep, around 12, 12:30. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I get a text from Ben. This season it's crazy. But it's kind of exciting in a way. I was actually looking forward to waking up, seeing if that game was canceled, because I thought that would have given us a huge edge. All of our staff experts, everybody's in Discord. I mean, the community just kind of thinks itself through, the puzzle, which I kind of like, So yeah. I love everybody in our community actually kind of giving like rapid updates. It's really like how I get all my information these days. So back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think there's several ways to go this slate. Obviously, Fitzpatrick became quite popular across the DFS landscape this week in general. Ben and I do the cash process early on Monday afternoons, and I was joking ending that podcast saying, Ben, as of now, and I mean, it's on there. The tape is there. I'm playing Ryan Fitzpatrick in cash. I had him locked in, and those Monday pods kind of are indifferent to say the least. Obviously, so much changes throughout the week. But the one thing that I thought was interesting that I was trying to wrap my mind around last night is, yes, there's several routes to go with quarterback, like, Watson, Dak. I mean, Russ, obviously, if you got the money. But I feel like because he became more popular throughout the week, most DFS players will say, I'm not going to play a 15% Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I think his ownership's going to be cut in half, probably around that 7% range, which it is what it is. I mean, that's not really chalk. And frankly, I like the price. I like the game flow. I feel like, in my opinion, people in the DFS landscape don't read injury news enough. I mean, there are so many guys that are already out, obviously top players, but their backups that are subbing in are some of the worst, Pro Football Focus graded players in that secondary and linebacking crew. So I think they're going to move the ball with ease. I mean, the spread is moving in Miami's favor. I love seeing that. 71% of the bets I'm looking at Bet Karma are coming on the Seahawks, but the line is moving a full point. So that's like another tell that I actually like a lot, even for obviously betting purposes, but baking into DFS equations. And, the totals up to 55.5. It'll probably be 56 by kickoff. That's the high total of the slate. So I love Fitzpatrick. And on FanDuel, for you FanDuel players, I'm probably playing him there. I don't think he's going to be owned really at all on FanDuel. I mean, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, again, to Salmon's question, who was the first one that's streaming, is Fitz a trap? I mean, or he thinks Fitz is a trap. I'm not saying he's a trap. I'm just saying, like, his range of outcomes is so much greater than I think a lot of quarterbacks. Like, as long as you have that in mind, like, his floor is legitimately like 5 points.
I
But
agree.
his ceiling is like 30 plus for sure.
I agree, but also too, this is all stuff that I'm literally looking at betkarma.com. I go there, I check prop stuff. I mean, the props that came in the last 48 hours on Ryan Fitzpatrick was better than I thought. I knew it would be pretty good, but I mean, again, it's just another tell. I mean, we can only be so process oriented in DFS. I mean, let's be real. This stuff works out probably 65% of the time in the grand scheme of things. To your point, you're running the simulation, say just every 10 slates. You bring up a great point, like 3.5, 4 slates, he's gonna bomb. But I like it enough.
Anyone.
I like it enough this week. The props, 292 yards I'm seeing in some of these books for his passing total. And technically, that rushing total is what people like to talk about for Deshaun. Even Dak. Dak has that upside. Obviously, Kyler Murray, some of these other guys, Russ. But he's got the same rushing upside today, about 22.5, 23 yards. What I'm seeing is all these other guys, and he's cheaper. So it's like
he runs. Like he has no fear. He just like runs sometimes, and it's hilarious.
And he's a baller. He's a veteran. Like he knows Seattle's bad. They're coming across from the Northwest. This is why we talked about it in the cash process. Teams that fly like in these crazy, 5,000, 6,000 miles. I mean, that does adversely affect things in a way, not to mention they're extremely beat up. That's why I wanted to talk about injuries before I forgot. Like, to me, that's a tell. I mean, this is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, one of the smartest guys, been around forever. He knows how to navigate this league. He sees this team, they're beat up. They know exactly what they're going to do. And they have ballers as far as wide receivers and tight ends go. So I like it. All right, enough on that, right? What else do you want to talk about to start the slate? And then we'll start going through some questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll kind of probably answer if people ask. I mean, I already saw one come in. I mean, I think I don't care how chalky is. I mean, yeah, I would say Kamara is a lock in every format. And when I say a lock in every format, that does not mean I would put him in 100% of your lineups. Not because I don't think he's a good play, but like we just said, it's not like he's auto going to get 40 points. There are outcomes where he sucks, but also because I just never put 100% of anyone because they can get hurt. Things can happen. The game can be weird. So, yeah, I mean, I would not dare fade Kamara in cash, but in tournaments, there's always – if someone's going to be 30+% owned, there's always justification to fade that play, at least in one, and 3 or 2 or 3 or whatever.
This is definitely a historic week just for the – of course, we'll go back to simulation speak. And by the way, we'll interject right now at dfskarma.com. You guys already know we have a ton of content, cheat sheets, core plays, all that stuff's under the subscription big orange button. You can't miss it. However, I do want to point out it's powered by Sam. The projections portal has been essentially a process to build what we want it to be right. Like we could have put stuff up weeks ago or, even the last couple years, but it's really come along and it's based on all these mathematical equations that essentially Sam runs, and they're legit. I mean, you go there right now, I'm looking at it. I mean, back to Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't want to keep talking about him, but he is the number one value, in your actual projection system. I mean, that's another tell. So there's just a lot of I think I said in Discord a couple of days ago, I'm just following the cookie crumb trail. It is what it is. If it doesn't work out, it sucks, obviously. But life goes on, and hopefully we have the winning hedge bets at betkarma.com. That's kind of how it's been rolling for me this year. Let's talk about a couple game situations, Kamara, whatever, lock. Yeah. To your point, I mean, I'm playing 6 GPPs and 1 main cash on DraftKings and just 1 lineup right now on FanDuel. I don't know if I have time to use our optimizer, but I have Kamara in probably 6 out of those 8 lineups, maybe 7. And then Zeke, I know, will be very popular. I actually have a little bit less of Zeke. I think Zeke's obviously amazing play in cash and tournaments as well. But to your point, I actually have a little bit less Zeke exposure. I'm very overexposed to the Dallas passing game. I actually want to play Dak as my main quarterback. I was toying around with it. The Browns are pass funnel. They just suck. Their secondary sucks. I mean, they're beat up. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to downplay that too much. But, the Browns, this is going to be a shootout. I mean, I know everybody thinks they're just going to run, but I love Beckham. I talked about that on the cash process on Monday. Before, I did not think that guy would even get any tread this week. It goes to show you that people are somewhat sharp, but I think this is a breakout game for Beckham. I mean, Landry's going to be involved. This is going to be a shootout. And my favorite play pretty much of the entire slate. Are you ready for it? First game, I got it. He's going to be 5% owned. I am considering playing him in my main lineups at CD Lamb. I don't think anyone's
I
going to
thought
go
it was
back.
gonna be a bad take. Okay, no, that's a good take.
I don't
Yeah,
think
nice.
people are going to go back because they saw, I don't even know his name, the guy that dominated last week for Dallas, who I've never heard of. But CD got a little hurt in that game. Apparently, he's fine. I mean, you can just look at the props and the market kind of confirms that. But he's sick. The Browns suck. He plays in the slot analysis. I mean, he's going to dominate today. He's going to have at least 5 or 6 catches, probably for 65 yards. I mean, to me, that's the same as you're playing your Will Fullers and some of the other guys that are more expensive. So in the event that you do need salary, and I love the game flow, I'm playing CD Lamb. I think he's one of my favorite plays of the entire slate with some leverage.
Yeah, I mean, I like Lamb a lot. I think it's a good. I think he's a must for me in any Dallas stack. I think he's playable in cash, but I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, would I be surprised? I think that Cleveland keeps it close. But, like, would I be surprised if they do just try to run? And we all know Baker extremely overrated, so it's kind of like I don't know.
Hey, you watch it. He's in the background. You see him right there? He's going like this, pointing to the sky. He's at that game.
Cleveland is just
that's my boy.
All right, let me get to. I talked about Kamara. Okay, flex Jones, Henderson, or Davis. I assume you're talking about Aaron Jones.
You might be talking
play
Ronald. What? You might be talking about Ronald Jones.
Okay, well, if he's talking about Aaron Jones, then I would choose him. If he's talking about Ronald Jones, I would play Darrell Henderson. I think he's an awesome play this week. The Giants are an absolute joke. Akers is out. He looked great last week. I don't know if you feel different. Yeah. That's definitely my
Henderson. Ben's been all over Henderson early on this week. I mean, I knew he was in my radar, but there's actually a lot of guys, and I guess we'll just go to that for the next little game theory portion. I promise we'll rapid fire. More questions come. Sam and I can scroll back. Well, it won't be me, but it'll be Sam. But Henderson is an elite play, especially on FanDuel. But I think he's a great play in tournaments as well. I'm surprised he's kind of not getting more talked up. I mean, he's a 14-point favorite implied for 31 points. The Giants are traveling across country. I'm looking at the projections portal right now. He's one of your higher ranked value plays. And the reason why I love looking at this, it's color coded, so things do stand out. You're projecting him, Sam, for 8% owned. I mean, that's not that much, as you know. I mean, that's definitely a lot of leverage. Great tournament play.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because I think people get nervous, rightfully so, when there's like not a complete bell cow back. But I think it's an awesome tournament play. I mean, what else we got? Weather in Seattle, Miami. I'm not worried about weather.
Is there weather there? I didn't know.
I mean, there's there's always gonna be weather, but I think I heard. I always say, Mr.
Weather out, or is it?
No, weather? Dude, it's I just the funniest thing I ever heard from Pat Mayo one time was when he's like, luckily my players aren't made of sugar, so I'm not too worried about the rain. It's so true. If it's not a torrential downpour and it's not snowing, I don't really care about weather.
I think Tampa is where the issue is. 10% chance of rain. Who's asking these questions? By the way, man, I love seeing that coming from this is another reason coming from the Pacific Northwest. These guys are going to be gassed. It's going to be with a humidity over 94 degrees. I mean, this is
all, like the awesome new weather talent.
I love the weather, dude. I went to college to be a weather guy, and then I realized you couldn't make any money, so I stopped that. But hey, real quick, game theory wise, there's a lot of running backs in that like 5K range. I see some questions or whatever asking about this. My thoughts are, man, it is hard for me to fade Mike Davis. And again, it is a weird week where things that I talked about with Ben on the cash process, I mean, things change, let's be real, but I was steadfast. I'm like, future Anthony, Sunday Anthony, don't not play Mike Davis. And I feel like I'm playing Mike Davis on both sites. I mean, this guy's getting 8 targets a game. He actually #looked good, Sam. I don't know if you were watching or saw any replays. Yeah. He looks shifty. I think the Panthers were smart, and they knew what they had in him as the backup. I'm not calling him CMC. I'm just saying, he's priced at 5,700. He's going to see 8 targets. That's
a lot for me. Yeah.
Insanity. And I think some people are
getting comments for you to turn off your notifications because they're annoying as shit. So I like that guy. Thanks, Mike. I agree.
Our community's blowing up. I can't help it. Okay, go ahead. Mike Davis lock button.
Okay, so would you feel kind of this? Actually, I think is a good question, and because they're not a good team. I mean, would you play both DJ Moore and Mike Davis in cash, or would you only play one?
No, that's a great question, and I feel like probably a lot of people in the industry probably are thinking about that. I mean, yes, you can play them. Yes, it's fine. I wouldn't call it optimal or not. I do personally like to find. I guess we were going to get to this portion, and since he asked, I think it is one of the key questions of the slate. DJ Moore is on. I'm in one fantasy season-long league because I don't have time for everything anymore. DJ Moore is like my number one receiver, so don't get me wrong. I love DJ Moore. However, I'm already playing Mike Davis. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel good to have Panthers.
5.5K receiver. Like, give me a guy, Parker, to match with Fitzpatrick, who's going to be like 7% owned, and he's a baller. I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's a good play. I'm probably going to find a reason to not play him.
Okay. What about this? Is a good one. Renfro or Cooks in cash. I really like Brandon Cooks. I've been on him for like the last 5 days. I'm sorry. If he burns me, which he probably will, and I'm saying this, I am not trusting Hunter Renfro. Like, I just can't.
No, it's Renfro. I don't think it's actually close. I feel like he's a trap play in my opinion.
Oh, dude, no way. Air yards, playing finally a garbage defense.
He's definitely got talent. I'm just saying, if you want the safe guy, I mean, Bet Karma's props are projecting like 5.5 catches for him. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's like literally what Tyler Lockett technically projects for, which I don't think people really kind of look at things like that. So for DraftKings, I'd play Renfro over Cooks if I were deciding between those two.
You're more of a FanDuel guy, Galladay or Amari on FanDuel?
Ooh, man, that's toss-up. I don't actually remember the prime. I'm not playing either, but I think you got to go with Galladay because
I think Galladay is a better play. Amari is probably better on DK with
I like Lamb a lot, and that's probably why I'm just, Galladay should dominate. In fact, before I did change the direction, the route I was going at quarterback, I was playing Galladay in my main lineup. I like him a lot. I'm definitely exposed to him in tournaments.
Okay, so talk me Robert Woods over Tyler Boyd. Am I crazy for considering a Rams stack? No, the Rams might be in my main lineup. I haven't decided yet just because Jared Goff is an ass. But it's funny, well, at least they have the highest implied total on the slate or tied for it. And I don't think
Jared Goff.
I mean, dude, it's I love him because he's won me a lot of money, but he's also lost me a lot of money. So it's kind of mixed. I mean, I don't know. I like a Rams stack.
It's not Jared Goff. It's Sean McVay. It's an amazing system to your point. So, yes, it works. It works.
Yeah. I mean, I like Robert Woods. I also I think the best play is Cooper Kupp, but that's just me. AC, would you go Troutman, Bucks defense in cash, or Logan Thomas, Texans D? It's the second one for me.
I mean, I'm probably playing Troutman and so
okay.
He might want to switch those up,
Dude, I get that Troutman is 2,500, and I feel like we're gonna get another question about that. I do get it, and I know Jared Cook's out, but they still have washed Josh Hill on the right. I'm just saying, it's not I just don't think you have a situation where he's gonna be automatically locked into 6 targets because I just don't. I know he doesn't need a lot to pay it off, but he could easily get a 0.
By the way, I don't know why Kenny Galladay. I'm looking at our projections portal for some reason. The Karma rank, he doesn't rank really well, but
he has less games.
Yeah, you might want to just check that out. But so Troutman, I think I'm a sucker on DraftKings for just playing the cheapie, but I will tell you, I'm not doing that on FanDuel. I think it's a fine play. I actually was considering it in my FanDuel main lineup, and I think there's going to be sharp players that do play him. If you really love a lineup, blah, 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 and you need Troutman, then play him. I don't really think it's a bad play on FanDuel, but I don't really trust it. I'd rather have more upside on FanDuel, but DraftKings, it's a PPR site, not to just sound redundant with some of these rules. And, he banks 3 catches, 25 yards, and you don't even need to talk about a touchdown. He's technically kind of hitting value. I mean, that's not that much to ask for. And if you like your lineup around it, I always pay down at tight end. And when I saw that, kind of was like an auto play, to be honest.
10-team PPR instead of Godwin, Hollywood, John Brown, or T. Higgins, I would probably play. Boy, that's a tough one, actually. I would probably play Hollywood Brown just because Washington's kind of bad, and John Brown is going to play, but is not fully healthy. And then T. Higgins, I don't know.
I like that game a lot. I'd play T. Higgins because, yeah, they're going to crush Washington, but they're not going to. I'm actually benching Hollywood in my season-long league, and I'm putting it.
That's fair. I mean, they might not. Lamar might throw the ball like 12 times because he doesn't have to. So that's, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess T. Higgins wouldn't be the worst.
I mean, I would get exposure in tournaments. I really wanted to play some of those Bengals somehow in my main lineup, but it's like not working out.
It's tough to trust. Would you play Mixon or Henderson at flex in non-PPR league? In non-PPR, I'd probably go Mixon.
Play Henderson only because Mixon's injury is kind of debatable. Like, I don't know, like he just might not make it.
Yeah, I mean,
I really wanted to play Mixon this week. I think he's an amazing play on DraftKings. I don't think I have him in one lineup right now. I guarantee that's a mistake. I probably should put him back in one, but I was overexposed to him at one point. Then that injury came around. It's like, I can't do this.
Anthony, we had a question about your stupid Browns. He says he's overweight on Landry. I think Landry is interesting, but I don't know if I can trust it. He's just not really been very involved on this team.
So, yeah, obviously, and it's crazy. Like, I made a joke earlier this week. I'm like, you guys aren't allowed to get hype on Browns later in the week. I knew some of this would come, but, Ian Hartitz from Pro Football, like, he tweets that out. He's got a huge following, and I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, I love kind of seeing it. But in my opinion, yeah, I think he's a fine play. But if you read the actual Browns beat reporters, which I'm a loser and I do that, he's still hurt, in my opinion. He still could. I think he's still gonna have a great game because he's the dude's a baller. He's gonna grind through it. But I don't like the true ceiling upside because he had hip surgery, and the beat reporter literally this week said he's not 100%. So I'm not playing, even though I love him. I love Beckham. I'm all in on Beckham. I'm kind of pissed right now that I don't think he's in my main lineup on DraftKings because I don't know if it works. But on FanDuel, he is. I like Beckham a lot. I think he's going to go off. He was drunk tweeting 2 nights ago saying, he was pissed, basically, which is why I love him.
Okay. Jacobs is sleeper. Yeah, Jacobs is interesting. Jacobs won't be owned, and I get it. I don't think the Bills' D is overrated as much as they're not like elite as they've been. Jacobs is fine. I'm not going to play him personally, but with, Ruggs, Edwards out, I mean, he should see a decent amount of volume. I just don't know how included he'll be on the rushing side. I mean, if they get down, which they easily could.
Technically, I love this question. I was waiting for it. There was a bunch of Josh Jacobs, like, if you curate through the Karma content projections, Discord, like, it's Sam, this, it's kind of like a beehive think tank in a way. Like, as long as you're checking in on stuff and reading throughout the week, these things will filter into your brain. And I'm pretty sure it's Ben in specific that's been kind of talking about how Buffalo's rush D is not as great as people think. And I kind of came more onto him. I'm actually overexposed to Jacobs in tournaments. And if you look even further, I am the big analytics guy. I mean, that's why I love the projections portal. I mean, this works. Josh Jacobs is like popping on your models. And this I'm not calling it the Aaron Jones game, but I'm calling it as this kind of reminds me of that. When it's like, wait a second, why is Aaron Jones only going to be like 10% owned today? He's going to get all the touches, the targets, whatever. He's got the ceiling. He can break the slate. So I'm overexposed to Jacobs. I think he has a really good game.
Would you play Mike Davis and CD in cash? I would. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a subscriber, you should go subscribe because I will probably have that answer potentially for you in my core plays. So
all right, let's go. Let's do like 7 in a row here. Okay, Frank asked. He actually asked earlier. I forgot to get to it. What's your top? I mean, like, what is your top stack of the day?
So, if we're just taking out cash, I freaking love the Cowboys as much as I love the Browns, dude. First of all, how proud, Sam, are you of me that I did not bet the Browns this week. I just didn't bet. I'm like, I'm not.
I think you're just like saying that. I think it's gonna be like 5 minutes into the game and Beckham's gonna score.
Trust me.
All right, let's go, money line Browns, and it's like
no. Trust me. There's like 4 games. I don't trust this week in the betting market. 4 or 5 games. I'm like, I don't know, no idea what to do with. But the Browns too. I feel like seeing the line movement towards them was fun. Obviously, like I of course wish I almost bet him, but I think that Dak is going to just annihilate today. I think he's going to have like 365 yards. I mean, seriously, 3 passing touchdowns. That's why I'm a little skeptical of Zeke. I mean, yes, Zeke's still going to smash. Don't get me wrong. But there's something that's the Browns they funnel this. I mean, this is a Dak game. I mean, yes, so it's definitely got to be the Cowboys, even though, it is what it is. I'm going to be watching the game with my friends at the bar, and they're going to be like, why is he fist pumping for Dak touchdowns?
I think my top stack, I don't know. I kind of really like a Ram stack in tournament just because it's different. No. I don't know if that's going to burn me. It definitely will. But
it's going to burn you. The Giants are not going to be able to score. I left the Rams defense. I was trying to play the Rams defense in cash on FanDuel, but I didn't.
Yeah, I did too.
They're going to murder. I mean, I think you need to start paying up for defense a little bit more in tournaments, by the way.
I agree with that. People don't do it. Boyd and Cash, no. I mean, I think he's a great tournament play, but I mean, it's still the Bengals at the end of the day. You have to always kind of remember that like, it's kind of like how, like, I like the Texans this week. I really like Deshaun. Like, I like Deshaun and Cash probably more than like I like Fitz. But like at the end of the day, it's like, it's Bill O'Brien, so you can't.
You're projecting Tyler Boyd for 4% ownership. I actually love that as a tournament leverage play. I think he's. I saw his props over at Bet Karma, and I was like, Tyler Boyd's gonna like go off today.
Dude, he's the number one
in the tournament.
Like, he's the number one. It's not AJ Green. AJ Green is old,
good. Man. He had 13 targets last week. I mean,
so good. He's so good, and he plays in the slot. And Cedric Wilson with my Dak stack. No play. Okay, so Bales and I talked about this. You are chasing points. Bales and I talked about this. I think the actual like best play, or my favorite play, not the best because Amari Cooper is like way better. My favorite play on the Cowboys is Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is like actually good. Everyone knows the Browns can't cover tight ends, or anyone for that matter. And I mean, I bet his prop, like 2-unit prop, on his over yards. I mean, I tailed Bills on that one. I think he's an awesome play. I think my favorite, honestly, stack with is like Dak, Amari, Dalton, or Dak, Gallup, Dalton, or Dak, CD. I mean, I think he's an awesome play.
So I have him in my Joe Burrow stack. I do have exposure to Schultz, and in my 1 season long league, to show you how much I like him, to your point, I picked him up this morning. I have Dak at quarterback, and I'm benching Ingram. I'm literally benching Evan Ingram. So
I like Schultz over Ingram for sure. Yeah. Okay, AC, would you go Kamara, Zeke, Mike Davis, or Kamara, Cook, Mike Davis, DK, Cash? I'd go the first one.
Yeah, the first one for sure. I mean, you don't want to lose out when those guys actually go off. Like, I hate chasing the chalk. It does suck the way this week kind of all transpired, because those two guys, they would have been popular combo, but I think they'll probably be really popular in cash games now. I mean, you just can't really fade it in cash, that combo.
Anthony, try to take your bias out, which you can't, but would you play OBJ in cash? I probably would not.
So yes and yes, but I don't know if he's going to fit on DraftKings. He's in my FanDuel lineup. I'm telling you right now, he's a better FanDuel play just because, the whole stigma. He doesn't get enough targets. I mean, I don't really buy into that stuff too much, especially this type of game. But yeah, the answer is, like, I'm trying to freaking figure out still how to play him on DraftKings. I don't know if I'm going to do it, because
what's funny is he just doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. He actually does get a ton of targets. He averages over 7 a game. It's just funny that, like, because he doesn't like go off every week, people just kind of assume that like Beckham sucks. And he's always
in the projections portal, he's your 5th in the Karma, which is a great tell. I mean, the Karma rank is a combination of all the analytics, and he's literally next to DJ Moore and all these other guys projecting at 16.5 points. Which, I like him a lot.
So someone asked why DJ Moore is so popular. He basically is like, he's really cheap, and the Cardinals I mean, defense is like better. It's not elite, and he just has like he hasn't
Buda
scored.
Baker's out. Buda Baker's out. There's a lot of guys down. That's why I'm probably screwed for fading him, to be honest, in cash. But I'm not playing every cash guy that's popular. I never do that, ever.
Can you play Cup Henderson in the same lineup? Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Rams could easily. Everyone's like worried about a blowout, but I think people always forget when it's like, oh, what if they blow out this team? If you're gonna blow out a team, that means you had to score a ton of points to do that. So it's not like they can't. Like you don't have to only target games or back.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that though this week. I mean, I agree with you, but not in a game where there's not supposed to be like back and forth, I guess. Hey, let's just address this. I mean, yes, freaking, we haven't even said anything. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. I mean, we don't need to say anything. However, I will say, I think this is an interesting topic. I don't know what people truly are doing. I mean, honestly, like it kind of is a little hard if you don't pay down in certain positions on, DraftKings to kind of figure out A, who you want, and B, are you going to get exposure? I have a feeling some of these guys are going to get left out in cash games on DraftKings. FanDuel is easier. I feel like, however, people are going to play DK Metcalf on FanDuel. And here's my little pivot. They're both going to be owned. Last week, I decided to take the higher guy, DK Metcalf. And I like the matchup too. And I was like, it's a coin flip. It doesn't matter. Of course, I got screwed and Lockett essentially went off. But this week, I'm actually paying up for Lockett. I think people on FanDuel are going to all play, which is a great play. But I do like the matchup a lot better. They technically get abused in the slot. I mean, all the data's out there. Pro Football Focus, that guy is terrible there. So I'm getting a little quote unquote contrarian, even though it's not contrarian, I guess you could say. But it's just a little. It changes your lineup just enough. So I'm trying to get locked on both sites.
Gesicki or Hawkinson? God, that's so tough.
That's a tough question because I've been Hawkinson. I think you got to go Gesicki again. They're down their cornerback.
Yeah, Gesicki's basically a wide receiver who has a tight end role or like tight end position. So it's probably Gesicki. That's a close one. Greg Ward or Justin Jefferson? God, that's disgusting. Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
Greg Ward is like bad, right?
yeah, I would not. I mean, that's a Sunday night slate, isn't it? I guess seasonal.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like seasonal. Yeah. Bucks or Ravens cash. I mean, if I can defense, I'm not paying up for the Ravens, man.
I'm not paying up, but
Bucks. I think Bucks is a good play. I mean, the Bucks, I think, are gonna eat. I mean, their defensive line is so good.
Yeah, the line movement's coming down on that game pretty hard too.
Yep. Okay, this is a good. I hate we keep getting Browns questions that are actually good because then
I know. Hey, America's team will be revealed today at 4:05 p.m.
I will say, with Hunt playing, I don't really have an interest in either running back, to be totally honest. I get it for tournaments; they'll be well owned, but I just think they both kind of eat at each other's production. If you had to pick one, I'd choose Chubb, but I don't know.
It's tough because Hunt's kind of injured, actually. I mean. And I would say question for this game, especially PPR format. But I know it's a joke. I know I love the Browns, whatever. I said this 2 weeks ago. I'm like, it's going to be super hard winning DraftKings anything this year with Browns players because they spread everything out. I mean, it's not. I don't know. I mean, you got to legit just kind of get lucky on the weeks or with your lineups around them. But you're flipping a coin. I mean, they're all going to get equal share. That's the hard part, even with Beckham, to be honest.
Yeah. This is a good one. Okay, so how we thinking about Chris Carson? He's active. He took full reps on Friday. Hyde's probably going to be out. Carson is probably the ultimate leverage play of the entire slate.
I did think about him.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I can get there. It's definitely interesting because he is not going to be owned by anybody. And Pete Carroll is an ass and could just try to run the ball. And just for some reason, even though Russ having a career season, to start running it. I think Carson is super, super interesting in tournaments. If I was playing like 5+ lineups, I would definitely have him in one because he's going to be like negative % owned. Yeah, but it could also. Sure. I think this is a season long. Gesicki or Zach Ertz, dude. I'd say Gesicki. Carson Wentz sucks.
Probably got to go Gesicki.
Dallas or Bengals punt defense. I'd say Bengals. I think that's gross. That's gross. The Dallas defense, dude, is so bad, like so bad.
They throw a pick today, dude. That game, I mean, that game has been the highest raising total all week. I mean, you got to have a tournament of that game stack. I mean, James Robinson, Boyd,
Fitz
Burrow.
Fitz behind in cash. We talked about this kind of at the beginning. I mean, quote unquote, like yes, high owned in cash, but that doesn't mean like 50%. That means like 15 maybe or 20.
Yeah, I don't even. I'm telling you, people are going to outthink it.
No, you always say, and it's true. Like we're in a bubble, so it's hard for me to like get out of that. Like I'm saying, if I talk to like 20 different touts, yeah, I think he's gonna be pretty high on. But like,
a lot of the sharp players probably will play him for sure in draft. I would think. But
who's Empire playing in cash?
Yeah, what's that guy? 3 million freaking slate. I mean, again, the weird thing about this week, like we said to start, is it kind of doesn't matter. Like Watson's a great play. You can get your Cooks, whatever, Fuller, whatever you want to do. I mean, Dak's a great play. I really want to play Dak. So unlike some weeks where it's like, oh my God, there's not much, let's just pay down. I do think it's going to be spread
out. 2v2 for cash, Logan Thomas, Houston, or Troutman Bucks. That's funny. Someone else asked that too. For me, it's definitely the first. I mean, AC is going to try to tell you to play Troutman. I'm not playing that.
Yeah, I mean, don't play him on FanDuel. I think that could be a mistake on FanDuel.
Look, dude, okay, Logan Thomas, it's annoying because Dwayne Haskins sucks so bad. Interestingly enough, I have been reading, he could get benched in this game. And not Kyle Allen is good, but like he can't be that much worse. Like Logan Thomas, like if he just gets catchable targets, like the man's gonna eat. He's under fourth. I'm playing Logan Thomas. Cash defense besides Ravens and Rams.
I mean, it's the Texans.
Yeah, I mean the Texans. Honestly, if you want, it's like disgusting. If you want a super punt, I mean, like the Lions are interesting just because the Saints are literally missing like all of their good players besides Kamara. So I don't know. I mean, but Bengals technically, Bucks. Okay, Anthony, for FanDuel, rank Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Lockett for cash.
Lockett number 1.
Yeah.
Evans number 2, but I mean, I wouldn't play either of those other two guys.
Keenan Allen, I think, is going to have a monster game.
You could. No, that actually is a good call. I'll agree with you there. Go Keenan number 2.
I mean, no, I agree it's close because I think Keenan, like in a vacuum, is better, but Mike Evans also, there's no Godwin, and then those two other scrubs are injured, so it's like, I don't know. I mean,
also, by the way, I do think this is worth bringing up. I mean, I think Ronald Jones is a good play today. I know he's burned all DFS players 1,000 times. I do think he's a good play today. I debated him, honestly, in cash, but I just can't come off probably Mike Davis, I guess. But I do think Ronald Jones, even on FanDuel, Ronald Jones is definitely a good play.
Gaskin and GPP. Myles Gaskin is my favorite play of the entire week. I've talked about him on 2 pods now, wrote him up in my article. He's going to make me look really stupid probably.
That is a great leverage play. I mean,
he's my favorite. He's just
I have him in lineup. I have him in 1. I like that.
Jordan Howard would just leave me alone and give him the goal line. Gaskin would be, oh my God, such a nut play. Kenyon Drake. Okay, so Kenyon Drake was someone I was hoping people would ask about. Kenyon Drake is so weird because I think he's in a great spot, and obviously he's good. Only problem I have is, number 1, Chase Edmonds is like kind of starting to play more snaps. Number 2, I don't know why they're not throwing him the ball. He has 5 targets in 3 games total.
He's a good leverage play, though, especially he's kind of burned some people. FanDuel and
would you trust Kenyon Drake like in your main lineup, for instance? Because I would not.
But FanDuel, you can literally do whatever you want on FanDuel every week. That's kind of why I love it there.
It's kind of like FanDuel, dude. There's no strategy. It's just
he's a good play though on FanDuel because it's pretty cheap, and people just I don't think are going to play him. Like they'll play all the other guys around him. So I was really looking at him on FanDuel a lot. Hey, but real quick, back to your Myles Gaskin again. I want people that are watching. You know, at the end of the day, we can always tell you so much and put so much content out there, but you have to look at the data. Like the data, you'll become a better DFS player if you just stare at the Karma projections portal every week. If NFL is the only sport you play, start looking at it for other sports too. But it is interesting to see Miles Gaskin pop in the value projection, and it's color coded, so like your eyes are drawn to it. Like you don't need to really meticulously study everything. You go, wait a second, I see Ronald Jones popping. By the way, Ronald Jones is your number 2 value play. So there you go. I mean, the data is talking to you.
No
Gaskin's
Lenny.
up there, man. Gaskin's like one of your top 5 value plays in the slate. He ranks 7th in the Karma rank. And he's only projected for 6%. I mean, if he goes off for like 2 or 3 touchdowns, I'm dead on FanDuel and DraftKings for my main lineup. So I probably should play a little bit more Miles Gaskin now that I think about it.
All right, half PPR, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, Justin Jefferson, Chark. I'd go Woods or Chark.
You go Chark this week.
I like Chark. I mean, first, I definitely would include Ben's been on it. I'm definitely telling him. I really like a Bengal stack, bringing it back with Chark. Chark is fine to play. He's underproduced for I think how talented he is. And Gardner Minshew is not that bad.
Yeah.
Like think because of his name. It's so dumb. Cook and Lockett or Zeke and Metcalf. Ooh, wow, tough one. I'm not a Dalvin Cook guy, and it's my fault. I just don't play him. I don't know why. I would choose Zeke and Metcalf because Zeke's a beast.
Yeah, me too. Final 5 minutes by the few minutes here.
All right, let's do some rapid. Mixon or Henderson, PPR league? Henderson. Would you go naked Kyler? Yeah.
I thought about that.
I'm not, but I don't see a problem with it.
People aren't going to play Kyler this week.
I agree. That's very true. Hopkins and cash? No, way too expensive for me at least. I mean, again, if you make him fit in cash with decent running backs, then I would never talk you off of Hopkins. He's like their tired receiving. But Anthony Henderson or Mike Davis, FanDuel cash?
Mike Davis.
Yeah. Are you playing any Preston Williams?
No, because I want to. But again, it's kind of like with Landry. It's like no real preseason coming off, the whole surgery. I just know. But he could bink a touchdown today,
Keenan Allen or Adam Thielen? For me, it's Keenan by far.
I'd go Thielen just because I'm actually looking at wide receivers right now, like a final look. Keenan ranks 4th in Karma rank. He ranks 4th in the actual overall projections, really low ownership. I actually like Thielen a lot today because people are anticipating a shootout. That's why Watson's a great play. I mean, at the end of the day, so there's going to be points coming back on the other side.
So I do agree with the Thielen take. I think Justin Jefferson, and someone is asking this below these questions. I mean, Justin Jefferson got priced up. People saw he went off last week. He might be over-owned and could end up being kind of not bad chalk, but Thielen is clearly the leverage play for the Vikings.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Galladay, Lamb, or Odell, DJ. Wow, that's a good one for you. It's the first one for me all day.
Is that on DraftKings?
They didn't specify. In a vacuum, I would say it's the first one for me.
Yeah, probably. I mean, again, I'm playing Beckham on FanDuel for sure. But because it's the Browns and I'll hear this shit when we lose 45-3 in Discord, which I'm gonna be pissed. I'm not gonna go down on the ship sinking in case, Beckham, his back tightened up this week. That's kind of why I don't want to play him on both sites just in case. If I lose one, whatever. But I'm playing him on one lineup.
Frank, I think Diggs breaks his legs. I love Stephon Diggs today. He's an elite play. He might be my main lineup if I stack
that game is actually pretty interesting. I mean, I do have a game stack there. I mean, I feel like it's always paying loyalty points to Ben. I mean, I feel like he found his boy Josh Allen before the rest of the industry did, like a year and a half ago, to be honest. So I just always play that guy. He's literally 3% every week. It's kind of fun just stacking him every week.
I think somebody just asked this, but Cook, Lockett, or Zeke Metcalf would go Zeke and Metcalf.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, I would not play him in cash. I mean, again, he could go off, but he's he's such a high range of outcomes, in my opinion. I mean, because I'll still die on the hill that Kirk Cousins sucks. So, it's not like he's an all lock to produce. Henderson or Davis, FanDuel, AC said Davis. Galladay or Fuller, DK Cash. I think Galladay is such an elite play.
Yeah, I think you got to go Galladay. I mean, again, I see the allure with Fuller, but to me, Fuller, Cooks, all those guys.
He's glass.
People realize that Randall Cobb is there. And that's what scares me about. picking one of those guys. Dude, Jordan Akins, the guy gets like 6 targets somehow a game.
It's
I don't
so
know.
frustrating. Jordan Akins literally runs more routes on like his percent of snaps than any tight end in the league, and just is not good. So
There's too many variables there, and let's be real, like Duke Johnson, David Johnson, those guys catch passes too. So
I know.
I could play Watson as quarterback. I get real skittish picking one of those wide receivers. I just kind of want guys that I know are going to at least be like. We'll go back to Devontae Parker. There's only another minute or two here. I don't think he's a great cash play. I might end up going there because you can just see the game flow, especially if you play with Fitzpatrick. It makes some sense. He's lower owned. I could have just envisioned the last drive alone, he getting like 5 catches for 45 yards. You know? I mean, that's how Fitzmagic works, and Parker's always
so realistic.
At the end of the day,
it's so realistic. Yeah, Keenan's a freak. Cheap defense for me is Texans. Again, yeah. I talked about the Lions, but I'm probably not going to do that.
I think Texans are going to be so over. They're going to be so heavily owned. They're the chalk in defense I'm playing. It's the worst chalk ever. They are going to score like -4, and it's like scary.
Mo Cox or Schultz PPR. Schultz all day.
Schultz. Couple more questions.
Sean wants to know when the Karma Golf tourney is going to happen after your 300,000 of winnings in the last
We'll do it as soon as COVID passes, which will hopefully.
Sean, you're asking the right questions.
Definitely next summer for sure.
I think this is a season long. Nixon, David Johnson, Ronald Jones, pick 2. This is a bad take. I would actually start David Johnson and Ronald Jones.
No, I would too, because I don't trust Mixon's injury. Like something's up. I mean, I'm sure he's going to do well today, but I don't know. I don't want Mixon. He's done this in the past, and then he gets benched, in the second quarter because he's hurt. So
yeah, and again, like the Jags are bad, but like, are we saying the range of outcomes of the Bengals being blown out is not realistic? Because it totally is. Yeah. Best value wide receiver in cash. I guess we'll do both sites. I think it's Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I mean, I toyed with it. I'm just probably not going there.
Cheap. Yeah. He's so cheap.
He is cheap.
What do you think the best value on FanDuel is for wide receiver?
Man, I know that this is a terrible take. I don't care, but it's CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, yeah, that's a good take.
I mean, he's 5,600, which on the cash process, if you go back to the tape, no one listens. I said, I guarantee he's probably 5,600. I didn't even look. He was 5,600. Yeah, he's a great play. The Browns suck, man. I mean, they literally let you just throw during the slot. Just wait till you watch the game. You're going to be, if you don't know what you're going to know.
They're just like, take it. Just take the ball.
They literally just go ahead, guys. Right down the middle of the field.
Like a funnel. James Robinson, Clyde, Lockett, Jacobs at flex PPR. I'd say Clyde.
You have to.
He's so good. I'm so mad. I was going to play him in cash. It was going to be a sick cash play, and nope. Devontae Parker or DJ Moore. That's funny. Through the stream, I would have opened up by saying DJ Moore. I think it's actually Devontae Parker.
Yeah, DJ Moore is the better quote-unquote analytical play. I mean, just go look at Sam's projections portal. He's definitely the better play.
Play opportunity is just insane, but Teddy's.
There's not really a big difference, and I need some leverage somewhere in my ownerships. And Parker's going to be owned. Let's be real. He's going to be owned. But I'll take half the
ownership. James Robinson and Clyde or Jacobs and Lockett? Wow, that's a good question. Is there any way you can go Clyde Lockett?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Right, Clyde.
All right. Unless we get any more. Anthony, I want a bold call from you for today that's not about the Browns.
Come on, man. I can't do that.
Oh, my God. It's just like,
all
what?
Right. So I'll give a bold call while you're thinking about yours. It'll be good. I'll do something with the betting that I really like. So
I know my bold call already.
Well, go ahead. You go with yours first.
Myles Gaskin, 2 touchdowns over 100 all-purpose yards.
Come on. Don't be.
There we go. There we go. I might play Myles Gaskin in cash.
So, I honestly felt so good this week, and I pretty much had my best betting year ever. And all my stuff, I put at Bet Karma in the Discord there. I just feel extremely confident that free money today on the Rams. you probably can still find 13 on your books. I'm surprised it didn't move to 14. That is a little bit sketch, but I just feel like the Rams, you want like a free bet today, bet $100 on the Rams, 13 and a half. It's the same thing in my opinion. I feel like by far that's the easiest bet of the entire slate.
I like that.
So that does it. Good luck this week, guys. Hopefully there's some good winners. If not, stick around next week. We'll bring you one. DFSkarma.com. All the content, cheat sheets, core plays. Sign up if you haven't. We appreciate it. And then always be checking in on Bet Karma. There's constantly new things updating there. We got a big update coming in the next couple weeks as well. So looking forward to that.